Hi guys, welcome to Sunday Coaster Club. In this video, we talk Epic Universe.
I still think that Harry Potter is possibly the best ride I've ever been on.
Universal Studios, Great Britain. What are they going to have when this park opens?
Yeah, I think.
And Merlin Entertainments, potential downfall.
With cheese on and a 125ml carton of cheese,
Yeah.
£28. Hi guys, we're back here in the UK and back home. We have come to site at Bedford, where the new Universal is planned.
Right here.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to go to Epic Universe a week and a half ago. Must be about a week and a half ago now.
Yeah.
So our feet have not touched the ground since, to be honest with you. We've just sort of sat back and digested, I think, the whole park in general, the rides, and then to get the announcement while we were over there, we got notifications start to come through, couldn't believe it, and then to be able to go to Universal the day afterwards and walk around, you know, Isle of Adventure and just take in that is something we're going to have.
I think it made the trip there slightly different because we was looking around Universal and you're seeing the rides that they've got there and you're thinking what class of rides are going to be here. It is insane, the quality that's there. And then of course on top of that, while we was in Universal, they dropped the annual pass holders could visit Epic, and it popped up on my phone and that we were sitting there in the New York section on Universal Studios. And I've never booked something as quick as that, and that was obviously for the 17th, I think it was, or the 18th.
Yeah, for the annual pass holders,
for the annual pass holders
review days. But yeah, I mean, we still were incredibly lucky that we were able to go and do that. But also, I think it does give us a bit of an insight to here because size-wise, the park's obviously a lot smaller than the main parks in Orlando. I think size-wise will be on comparison to that, especially at the start. You know, obviously they have stated they have got land here for future reference for if they want to develop. But in the meantime, I think the size of the park we'll be getting, it will be quite similar to that.
I think the way that the park's sort of laid out here, especially from the concept art that you can see, if you look at that compared to Isle of Adventure, for instance, you've got the water in the middle. There, of course, you've got the lounge, you've got Marvel working the way around, you've got the cartoon area working back around, you've got obviously the biggest part, which draws a parallel with here at the top of the park will be Jurassic Park. Of course, rumoured here, but I think we're going towards 95% after the copyright has come out and the patents and stuff like that. I think we're going more towards that. But if you look at the top of the park there, you've got the Jurassic Park, sort of the same here. Then working our way around, you've got Harry Potter. Now, what's interesting about that is if you look at the top right-hand corner of the concept art and obviously of the plans, there is an expansion area there. So whether that is there for when they get the rights to Potter, if they get the rights to Potter, I don't think they're not going to. I think there's just a little bit more crossing the T's, dotting the I's to do before they can do anything like that. It might take a couple of years for it to I
mean, after going on battle at the Ministry, I really hope they get rights to Harry Potter because honestly,
if you had a clone of that here, I know it's early days, I know the park's not even open yet, and we're so lucky to be able to have gone on this ride and obviously have a look at POVs as well as the ride. We're so lucky to have done it. But if that's a clone coming here, what are they going to have when this park opens?
Yeah, I think breaking it down into things like that, obviously that ride, I still maintain it. I know everybody loved Monsters Unchained. Yeah. I still think that Harry Potter is possibly the best ride I've ever been on. It's a really, really good ride. But
we're keeping all that under wraps because we're going to do a full in-depth review on Epic Universe now that we've settled down, and that is coming up. So stay tuned for that one.
Yep, definitely. But yeah, back to the ground behind us. What I find very, very bizarre is I think me and Jamie tend to not wander along this bit too much anymore since they closed the field off. Because during the first phases of
we're locked out, I should say.
During the first phases, obviously, of even being mentioned that there was a possibility that this site could progress to be Universal Land, we came up here. We have filmed in the middle of the field, right over there, I think. literally just there when all
Just
these
here,
got
yeah.
dug out. We stood, had a look around them, and you know, we've walked up and down this field many a times. I've got soaking wet on it a couple of times. My jeans have soaked up the old moisture from it where it's not been cut. But yeah, we've been here a lot, and for us seeing it gated off, I think it just makes it a little bit more real.
Yeah.
Because we're not allowed on there now, and it says no trespassing, which we're not. But yeah, it's a really bizarre feeling, and I'm really excited to see how it progresses in terms of what lands get confirmed, what rides get confirmed. Back to the Future. I know we've all got suspicions on it, but nothing has been said by Universal at all as to confirm that it's definitely going to be what has been said. Paddington, Back to the Future, Jurassic World,
That's right,
or whatever it is.
Illumination Land, there's going to be a minion area. I presume that's a little bit like the in Hollywood studios. There's a crazy sort of cartoon land. I think it's more based on Simpsons. In that part. And then obviously there's DreamWorks Land in Orlando.
Yes.
So I think that's sort of a good judge for what it will look like. On
definitely.
That.
And again, if anybody's been there, I know not everybody's had the opportunity to go, but the theming in Universal is second to none. We love Disney as well. Disney's theming it is great, but Universal, there's something really special about how they theme everything, and there is. It's very, you feel so immersed in where you are, you forget where you are. I think, you know, we were in Isle of Burke the other day. Perfect example. You feel like you're part of that movie. You feel like just the detailing is insane. People, and I keep saying that over again. I think I said it on a live quite a lot, and a couple of the people that were on there speaking to me. It's so hard to convey unless you've been inside it, but it's so immersive. And I don't think the UK understands that this is just going to blow everything else out of the water.
I think even walking into Super Nintendo World, the colours just pop out at you, and you see what you saw in your childhood, you know, in 2D, just come fully into 3D. Words can't describe it, you know, and again, that's going to be in the review of it, but yeah, it's just amazing theming from Universal Creative. And with Disney over the past, I say more than a few years, we've noticed that the theming, even in the newer stuff, isn't
to point. I think
to point.
It isn't as in depth as what it could be and what it is in the Universal parks. And you know, and don't get me wrong, like I said, I'm a huge Disney fan, as I am a huge Universal fan. But between the two of them, when you feel really immersed in something like that, it's pretty crazy to, like you said, to walk through the gate and go into Nintendo, and you're in the game. You're in the game. There's no doubt about it. Everywhere you look is the game. And I think where we were walking down, they've got like where the Donkey Kong area is, and we were walking back through to the main bit. And I think I caught you at one point, and I turned around and I was like, "Oh my God, look at that up there, it's part of it." I thought it was a sky, and it wasn't the sky, it was actually part of the facade.
They've done some great stuff, and it's like corrugated, isn't it? Corrugated metal, I suppose. They've painted it, but the way they've blended it into the sky and it comes down is just...
It was seamless.
Yeah.
And the only reason I think I noticed it was because I picked something up. I dropped something on the floor, probably my phone, no me. I dropped something on the floor and I went to reach up and I just looked, and you know when something catches your eye? But again, I wouldn't have noticed it was there necessarily if I hadn't have been looking as such. It's just, that attention to detail. There's nothing like that here, although I hear this morning we were getting a bit of news on the fact that Merlin have teamed up with Paramount, from what I...
That's right, and they're bringing Paw Patrol to Chessington.
Yeah.
Now, is it too late to sort of try and revive Merlin after what's happened here?
I think they've always been lacking IP.
Yep.
And that is a big...
But we said that a few years ago. We sat down in Alton Towers and we said the one thing that it's lacking is the rides are great, but it needs IP. You want a story behind the ride. You look at something like Rise of the Resistance is a perfect example, or even another example, Spider-Man ride at Universal. Take away Spider-Man completely from that ride, you've got a great ride mechanism.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the carts that are hydraulic, that are a little bit like the dinosaur carts / Indiana Jones carts.
Yeah.
They're like that. You've got the movement in them. I mean, it's Star Tours on a track, really, when you think about it. But without Spider-Man, that ride would be nothing. But if you had a good IP to put into it,
I think I always go back to with Merlin 13, and when 13 was released, and the campaign that they had for it, the adverts that were on TV, they were amazing. It was creepy. There was a real good vibe about it. You know, everybody couldn't wait to go, and then it opened, and people went, and everyone was a bit like, oh. It was built up so much, and they did a brilliant job of advertising it. But unfortunately, it didn't live up to the standard of what their adverts had been in the theming aspect, and it didn't. And I love 13. Can I just say, I like the ride. I find it a really enjoyable coaster. You know, I know that's not everybody's opinion.
I think that the two things that spoilt that ride was overhyping of it, 100%. And secondly, and I said this before, ITN, I think it was, or ITV, it was a news outlet. They filmed a whole section looking at the ride, and the lights were on in the most secret part of the ride, the drop. Yeah. Spoilers. The free fall drop in the ride, and they showed it before it even opened. Why do that? You've just spoiled it for everybody. I mean, that's like us telling you the secret to Ministry of Magic and telling you the thing in the middle that's secretive and they don't want anybody to find out, and then you knowing, and you'd be like, well,
that isn't a spoiler. Just so we're aware. But yeah, I totally get that, and I think it's something they've been lacking for a very long time. Yes, they do seem to be pulling it out now to try and get bits and bobs on track. Look, it is a very, very big wake-up call for them, and it has to be.
They've cut all funding for entertainments.
Yeah,
They've
I know.
cut that all the way back. My thought behind this process was they're going to cut that for maybe 3 to 4 years. Think how many millions they can save from that. So they cut that. And then come 2 years before this park opens, they go hell and leather and start opening up lands left, right and centre. Now with what we see now is Chessington's becoming their jewel.
Their baby.
Their baby. And that is their universal buster, we'll call it. That's what they're trying to do with it, which you can see why. Thorpe Park's got no room.
Yeah.
It's got the coasters, it's got the high thrills, but it's got no room to expand. And also there's there is a residence around it. Yeah. So the screaming from the coasters, they couldn't do it. Yes, they could extend out to the old farm area that was on the back of Thorpe, but again, they're going to battle to get plan permission from people around. So that's out. Legoland's Legoland. There's only so many Lego things you can build. That is a coaster until it becomes a little bit, well, all the coasters are Lego and that's it.
They're saying that the new coaster they've got, I'll be honest with you,
Minifig
I was not expecting it to be what it was, but yeah, that's for another video, I guess.
Let's move to the next one. So we'll move to Alton Towers. The issue they've got is they can't build above the trees, as everybody knows. So that's going to restrict quite a lot. It's grade listed, so depending on what you can do, you can't do anything to the grounds. You can't do anything to the castle in the middle of it. You can't, and plus the fact is it's well documented that the town of Alton, I think, doesn't really agree with Alton Towers because of the noise that come from it.
I think the other issue with that as well, like you've just said, is everything is now being outsourced. How much do you outsource? What are you just giving away now all of the running of your park? You don't want anything to do with it anymore. So we've now got the food is outsourced, the entertainment's outsourced, everything is outsourced. Yeah. What are Merlin running? I'm not entirely sure. We've given up then, have we, and given it to someone else? I think they need to rein it back in, and I think they need to get somebody on board who knows what they're doing with or without IPs, you know, and unfortunately with this on your doorstep, you can't afford to operate in that manner anymore. You know, people will come to something that is worth spending the money on.
That's it.
Yeah, it's difficult for them, but look, they've got 5 years in which to...
Well, that's Chessington. So Chessington's going to be the one. That is the one to watch. Minecraft Land's coming where Asia was. They've got World of Jumanji, Minecraft, now Paw Patrol. Does it look good? I think it could do. When you think about it, all they've got to do is they've got to make one park that can beat Universal or can be on par with Universal. That's all they need to do. And what you've got to think is people coming over from all over the world, they're going to, well, I say they're going to. There's a possibility that Eurostar could finish here now. So that gives links to Europe. Once they're over here,
Yeah.
what did we do 2 weeks ago? We went to Disney.
Yeah.
We went to Universal.
Yeah.
We didn't go, oh, we're not going to go to Disney, we're going to go to Universal completely.
Yeah.
No, we go out deliberately to go to Disney and here.
Yeah.
So technically, if they make the parks, at the moment, I don't think that will happen because no one's going to want to go there. They've had the cream, they don't want to go back to the milk. But if they can make it as near as cream as possible and get it to that point where it's...
I don't know if I agree with that, if I'm being honest with you. I think that people will go to them. And I think they will. If people come over from America, from Japan, from all these other places that have got these wonderful parks in, I think they'll come here. But I do think they'll go to our theme parks as well because why wouldn't you? You're here. That's what you're here to do. If you're a theme park enthusiast like we are, you've just said it yourself. We'll go to Busch Gardens, we'll go to XYZ because we're there and we enjoy that. So I think people will go to them. The problem I think you've got is if people go to them and it gives a bad rap instantly, nobody else is going to go to them, and a lot of it is this, a lot of it is online and people post online about their experiences, and if you've had a bad experience, I'm sure everybody will know, you hear a lot of bad things online, you very rarely hear the good things about places. People always want to get it out there and want to warn other people that if something isn't up to par, don't go there. They don't want them to have their business, which rightly so. I think that's where the problem lies for Merlin. Yes, okay, Chessington, great, fabulous, but there's other parks as well that need that investment. Things like painting, as I said the last time on here, tiny little things that would make a big, big difference. Keeping the place clean and tidy.
We did
a lick of paint on fencing.
In Legoland, the painting
food prices,
was awful.
not £28, I think we paid for 4 portions of chips.
Yes.
One with cheese on and a 125ml carton of cheese, £28. And I'm not being funny, but the chip portions were.
So not even Disney get away with that.
Yeah.
How does a park that hasn't got the theming anywhere near the quality of Disney, hasn't got any of the rides that are near enough Disney? I mean, something like, I keep bashing Legoland a little bit here, but even Flight of the Skyline, the thought process is there, but when you sit on the ride and you look up and you see the screen cut off here.
Yeah. We've said it before, things like Soaring or Flight of the Banshee.
Amazing.
Excellent rides. Same premise as Flight of the Skyline. There's no reason that Flight of the Skyline shouldn't look like them. Unfortunately, they scrimped on the screen and it's very, very noticeable.
If you're going to copy a ride, you copy it and you do it better.
Yeah.
Simple as.
100%. But yeah, look, I mean, like I said, looking over the field right now, who knows what's to come behind us. I look forward to seeing where we dropped a pin, where we filmed. If you go onto our channel and have a look for our release video, we actually filmed dead centre over there in the middle of the field with our drone, and we have dropped a pin where we filmed that, and we are very anxious to know when this is all said and done, when everything is laid and everything is built up, we're going to investigate where that pin was dropped.
I think where we did the whole drone, where the drone went up, and you see us standing there, I'm pretty sure that's Jurassic Park, centre of the ride.
I hope so.
I think it is. Back here, where we've got a picture of us standing just back here, that one, I think, all this here, I think, looking at the way it's all built, I think it's all back area, pretty much. I think this is all staff parking. And
I really hope it is Jurassic Park because my legs really got spiked upon that day by many things on this field.
Yes,
And it was a bit of a troll for it, wasn't it?
It was round the edges. It was, so when you could walk round, now that was nice, just to be able to go for a nice stroll around when you could do. Obviously,
I
now
do
not so
believe
much.
there is still a path that runs through, a public path that they have not cut off, possibly down one of the sides from one of the farmers' fields, from what I've seen.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll have to investigate that and have a little look. If we can, then we'll take a wander. But obviously, we won't go on to anything that we can't.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just going to be so interesting to see how it develops, and we will follow it every step of the way, as we said at the get-go. I mean, we haven't we haven't done loads and loads of videos and updates on it because there's just simply no point when there's nothing going on. I said it in my last video, I hate clickbait. I don't want to show you nothing. Like I said,
there's nothing on the film.
The only reason we have come up here is, like I said, well, we're fresh in our minds and we've come back from visiting Universal in Orlando. Yeah, it's nice to come here and look across it and think, right, you know, this could be there and that could be there. And being the fact that we absolutely love theme parks and we love Universal, as I'm sure many of you guys do. For us, we're looking at things and thinking, well, that could go here and that could go there. Absolutely. It's the anticipation and the excitement that it brings, you know, waiting for the ground to break and seeing where this park will take us in the future and what will become of it.
Who knows?
So,
who knows?
Yeah, but we will be here and we will follow it every step of the way. We'll keep coming and checking back weekly to see if anything's going on, if any diggers have arrived. I know a lot of the videos have been up recently from other people have been, oh, there's a bit more fencing or there's a bit more whatever. I'm not going to update on things like that. I think we agree that it's, if there's ground being broken or there's diggers arrive for work, then we will bring you those updates as they happen. And as soon as work starts, well, that'll be us up here, I think, most of the time. Probably be camped at the side of the road with a tent if you go by, just holler. But yeah, so yeah, until next time, hopefully we see some ground being broken or something being built. Or
Hopefully, cross fingers.
Well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed our little discussion on all things Universal, basically, from Epic to back here in Bedford at home with my diminishing suntan. But we are very, very excited to see how this progresses. We will be with you every step of the way. If there is anything that anybody would like to see along the way, along the journey, or any information people would like to know, then just give us a shout in the comments below. Yeah, and we will update you in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully when some kind of work begins.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we'll see you in the parks.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Living the Theme and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Until next time, keep living the theme.